Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel Chembasis. So in this lecture I am going to discuss about what are the rules to do the nomenclature of different organic compounds. So this chapter is very important because whenever you will read any reaction mechanism in organic compound, you must have some idea about the how to do the nomenclature of any organic compounds, or how to relate if you are given some certain name or IUPAC name, what is the structure of that corresponding compound. You should definitely have this idea. So that's why this lecture is very important from the perspective of organic chemistry. So this lecture will be divided into three parts. So this is the first part of this lecture. Okay. So first of all, I will give a brief introduction of what is called the hydrocarbon. So from the name itself, you can have an idea that hydrocarbon basically consists of two elements, that is hydrogen and carbon. Okay. So this hydrocarbon is basically divided into three parts. One is that is called alkane. Okay. So in alkane, the carbon atom is bonded with total 4 atoms. Okay. So you can see that there is no carbon-carbon double bond or carbon-carbon triple bond is there. Only carbon-carbon single bonds will be there in alkane compounds. Okay, so the alkane compound has the general formula, that is CnH2n plus 2. So this is the general formula for alkane. So here I am giving you some typical example of alkane compound like ethane C2H6 or propane C3H8. So you can see that these compounds are having the general formula CnH2n plus 2. So these are called alkanes. Okay. So now let's go back to the next type of hydrocarbon, that is called alkene. Okay. So in alkene you will find that there is carbon-carbon double bond is there. Okay. So these compounds are called alkene. And the hydrocarbon that contain carbon-carbon triple bonds are called alkyne. And there is another type that is called cycloalkane, where you will see these types of cyclic structure. So these are called the cycloalkane, and the cycloalkane has the common formula CnH2n, and this is the typical structure of cyclohexane. This is one type of cycloalkane. Okay. So the first question is that what is the source of these alkanes? Okay, so the major source of this alkane is coming from the petroleum. Okay, so what is the petroleum? Petroleum is nothing but the mixture of different complex hydrocarbon. Okay, so the basic origin of the petroleum is come from the biological species. Okay, so in before you can say that 1 lakh or 10 lakh millions or billion years ago, there are several animals and plants are there. After the death of these animals or these plants, their microorganisms are settled at the bottom of the sea. Okay, so after they get settled into the bottom of the sea, they remain in that region for billions or millions of years, and and they are exposed to the heat radiation coming from the mantle of the earth or core from the earth. So after getting exposed to that heat and radiation, these microorganisms are slowly converting into these types of petroleum. Okay, so these petroleums are nothing but mixture of, you can say, 20 to 25 complex hydrocarbons. So these mixture is called the petroleum. Okay, so they have basically biological origin, and these petroleums, whatever we are using, is formed millions or billions years ago in the earth crust below the sea. Okay. Similarly, the hydrocarbons are also found in the outer space. So it is hydrocarbons not only found in our own earth, but you can find out these hydrocarbons in outer space. As an example, some asteroids which hit the earth, and after analysis of this asteroid, scientists found that this asteroid consists of different types of hydrocarbons. Similarly, in other planets in our solar systems like Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, those planets are having a huge amount of methanes and other hydrocarbon in them. Okay. So first of all, let's see some what is the three-dimensional structure of these types of hydrocarbons. So these are the typical example of some of the hydrocarbon. You can see this is propane, C3H8, this is butane, C4H10, and this is pentane, that is C5H12. Now if you write in this way, you can have some wrong idea that this hydrocarbon may have straight chain like structure, but in reality they do not have these types of straight structure. Indeed they have some these types of zigzag structure. So this is the representation of bond line formula. So this zigzag structure came due to the sp3 hybridization of this core carbon atom. So due to that sp3 hybridization, you can see that this hybridized orbital has some certain orientation, so that is 109 degrees some minutes. So due to that orientation of this sp3 hybridized orbital, these alkanes do not have these types of simple structure. Instead they have these types of zigzag structure. Okay, so this is the basic thing that you should know. So okay, about the alkane. So these are called basically unbranched alkane because there is no branching. They have these types of simple structure like CH3 CH2 CH3 or CH3 CH2 CH2 CH3. So they are called unbranched alkane. Okay, now we come to the branched chain alkane. So this is an example, that is isobutane. This is a type of branched chain alkane where you can see that there is one branching of methyl group. Okay, so this is a bond line formula, and this is a general formula of these types of branched alkanes. Similarly, this is called the isopentane, this is called the neopentane, and you can see that these are basically some not IUPAC nomenclature. These are the common nomenclature or norm. These are people used from the very beginning, so they remain or stays up to now. So these are called the normal or common nomenclature. Yeah, as you can see, if you have this types of structure where the carbon atom is attached with two methyl group, this is called the iso group. Okay, similarly when the carbon atom is attached with three methyl groups, then this is called the neo. Okay, so that's why this compound is called neopentane and this compound is called isobutane. Now there is one interesting thing to be noticed, that if you see the common or the general formula of isobutane and the butane, they are same. Both are having the formula of C4H10, but still you can see that the major difference lies in their structure. Okay, so the bond connectivity are different in butane and isobutane, so that's why they are called constitutional isomers. So constitutional isomer are having similar or same molecular weight and same molecular formula, but their structures are different, so that's why they have difference in different physical properties like melting points, boiling points, densities, index of refraction, etc. Okay, now coming back to the nomenclature of these types of hydrocarbon. Okay, so there are basically two types of nomenclature, or we can say two types of name is there. The first one is called the trivial or formal name. Now one thing that you should know, that the subject of organic chemistry is not new one. So the scientists are observing different type or discovered different types of organic compounds much years ago, and the IUPAC nomenclature basically came in the 19th century. But before 19th century, people have already discovered many organic compounds. So that's why at that time, as the IUPAC nomenclature was not there, scientists have given those compounds some trivial or formal nomenclature. But after that, as the number of organic compounds are huge or mammoth, so that's why it is almost impossible to remember all the names of that organic compounds. So that's why there is a process of doing systematic nomenclature of these types of organic compound that has been carried out by International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry in the 19th century. Okay, so here I am giving you some examples of the trivial or formal name of some of the organic compounds. The first one is called the acetic acid. You have already I hope that you have already know about the acetic acid, CH3COOH. This is called the acetic acid. Basically this acetic acid came or formed by the distillation of vinegar. Okay, so the Latin name of the vinegar is called acetum, so from that origin it named as acetic acid. Similarly formic acid, that is H, the formula of formic acid is HCOOH. Okay, so this formic acid has been discovered long ago, before the IUPAC nomenclature. So at that time formic acid has been formed by the distillation of ants. Okay, so the Latin name of ants is formic, so that's why they named as formic acid. So these names are coming from their origin. So that and as these names are used very much before the IUPAC nomenclature, it is still we are using these nomenclature are so famous that we are still using this nomenclature. Okay, now I will discuss about the systematic nomenclature of different organic compounds using this IUPAC nomenclature. Okay, so first of all you can see that the first compound, that is called the methane. Okay, when you have only one carbon atom, then you will the name of that compound will be methane. So here you can see that this nomenclature consists of basically two parts. So the first part is that is called the meth, as you can see, METH, meth. This is the first part, METH, and the second part is N. So this N part is common. Okay, as you can see, everywhere N part is there, that is common, and the first part is varies according to the number of carbon atoms. So if they have only one number of carbon atom, we call methane. If they have two number of carbon atom, we call ethane. For three number of carbon atom, we call propane. For four number of carbon atom, we call butane. For 5 pentane, 6 hexane, 7 heptane, 8 octane, 9 nonane, and 10 decane. Okay, so what happened after if the carbon chain consists of more than 10 carbon atom? In that case this decane portion will be common, and we will use some prefix like un. Un means 11, un decane, so 11 number of carbon atoms. Similarly dodecane means 12 number of carbon atoms. Tridecanes means 13 number of carbon atoms. You can see that the decane, this portion is common for all those series. Okay, only this prefix un, do, tri. Similarly tetra is for 14 number of carbon atoms, penta is for 15 number of carbon atoms, hexa is for 16 number of carbon atom, hepta is for 17 number of carbon atom, octa is for 18 number of carbon atoms, and so on. Okay, so I think up to this it is enough for you to remember. So mainly you have to remember these 10 names: meth, eth, prop, but, pet, hex, hept, oct, non, dec. Okay, after that these are simple rules. Okay, now I am going to talk about the nomenclature of unbranched alkyl group. Okay, so you can see that this is the structure of methane, where carbon atom is attached with total 4 hydrogen atom. If you take out any one of the hydrogen atom, what you will obtain is called the alkyl group. In case of methane, it is called methyl group. Okay, so this methyl group is denoted by this CH3 dash, this types of sign, or in bond line formula you can write like this, or you can write like Me dash. So this is called the alkyl group. In case of methane, it is called methyl group. Similarly, in case of ethane, if you subtract one terminal hydrogen, okay, sorry, in case of ethane you will subtract one hydrogen, you will get this ethyl group, which is also drawn in the bond line formula like this. Okay, similarly in propane, if you subtract any one of the you can say terminal hydrogen, then you will obtain propyl. In case of butane, if you subtract any one of the terminal hydrogen, you will obtain the butyl group. Okay, so this is the rules for nomenclature for unbranched alkyl group. Now there are some certain rules for the IUPAC nomenclature. I will discuss about those rules one by one. Okay, so the first and utmost important rules for doing the IUPAC nomenclature is that you have to locate the longest continuous chain of carbon atom. So that you have to locate the chains of carbon atom which contain the largest number of carbon atom. Okay, so you can see that this is one compound. Okay, so here you have to identify which is the largest or longest chain. So you can see that this is the longest continuous chain of carbon atom which contain total 6 number of carbon atom. Okay, so that is the first and utmost criteria, that you have to locate that longest continuous chain of carbon atom. After that, we have to do the numbering of different carbon atom in that longest chain or parent chain. So that longest chain is also called the parent chain. So you can see that this is the one of the organic compound. So what will be the parent chain? You can see that there can be two types of possibility, one like this and another like this. So what will be the parent chain? So you have to actually count the number of carbon atoms. So if you do the numbering like this, 1 2 3 4 5 6. So if you see that if you just consider this as your parent chain, you will have total 6 number of carbon atoms in the parent chain. But instead of that, if you just consider this as your parent chain, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So in that case there will be 7 number of carbon atom. So you can see that this will be the parent chain, because this longest continuous chain of carbon atom contains the maximum number of carbon atoms. So this will not be your parent chain, this will be the parent chain. Okay, so that's why it is very important to basically identify which is the longest continuous chain of or parent chain in your organic compounds. Okay, now you have to do the numbering of carbon atoms in that parent chain. Okay, so the rule says that the number of longest chain beginning with the end of the chain near the substituents. So suppose you have given this compounds. Okay, so what will be the numbering of carbon atom? So you have to do the numbering of carbon atom in such a way that the carbon atom which bears this substituents, any substituent, should be numbered as low as possible. So if you do the numbering in this way, from right to left, 1 2 3 4 5 6, then you can see that the carbon atom which bears the methyl substituents will have the numbering 2. On the other hand, if you do the numbering in this way, 1 2 3 4 5 6, in that case the carbon atom which bears this methyl substituents will have the number 5, which is larger than this number 2. So that's why this numbering from left to right will be wrong, but this numbering from right to left will be the right way of numbering the compounds. Okay, similarly you can see that this is the parent chain that I have already told you. So this is the parent chain that then you can see that if you do the numbering in this way, in that case the methyl substituents will have the lowest possible numbering. Okay, so the two things we have understood: first, you have to identify the parent chain. The parent chain should have the maximum number of carbon atom possible, and after that you have to do the numbering of carbon atom that is present in the parent chain, and during that numbering you have to keep in mind that whatever the substituents that is attached with the parent chain, attached with the carbon atom of the parent chain, should be numbered as low number as possible. Okay, after that, the third rule says use the numbers obtained by application of rule 2 to designate the location of the substituents group. Okay, so you can see that the carbon atom that is the methyl group that is attached with this carbon atom has the number 2. So that's why you will write 2 methyl. So this is the location of the substituents that is attached with the parent chain, and in the parent chain, as you can see, there are total 6 number of carbon atoms are there. So that's why you will write hexane. Remember, I have told you that when you have 6 number of carbon atoms in an alkane, you will call that alkane as hex plus n hexane. Okay, similarly you can see that this is the position of the substituent, that is 3, that is the methyl group that is connected with the number 3 carbon atom of the parent chain. So 3 methyl, and the number of carbon atom in the parent chain is 7, so 3 methyl heptane. Okay, now the fourth rule says that there may be possibility that there can be more than one substituent. So in suppose this is the example, this is the parent chain that you have already identified. Now you can see that two substituents are attached with the parent chain. So the in carbon number 2 methyl substituents is attached, and in carbon number 4 ethyl substituents is attached. Now in the prefix, which substituents you will write first? So according to the IUPAC rule, you will write that substituents which is alphabetically more or you can say that comes before alphabetically. So you can see that E, in case of ethyl substituents, E came before M alphabetically, so that's why this ethyl substituents will be pronounced first. Okay, so that's why you will call 4-ethyl, because the position of the carbon atom with which this ethyl group is attached is number 4, so 4-ethyl, and then after that 2-methyl hexane, because there is total 6 number of carbon atoms in the parent chain. Number 5 rule says that when two substituents are present at the same carbon atom, in this example 2 substituents are present on 2 different carbon atom, but there may be a possibility that on the same carbon atom of a parent chain 2 substituents may be attached. So you can see that carbon in carbon number 3 is attached with methyl as well as ethyl substituents. So in that case the nomenclature will be 3-ethyl, because E comes alphabetically before M. So 3-ethyl, then again you have to pronounce the position of the methyl substituents, 3-ethyl, 3-methyl hexane, because 6 number of carbon atoms are there in the parent chain. Okay, so in the rule number 6, there can be a possibility that 2 or more substituents may be identical. So you can see that in these 2 examples, the 2 substituents are different. One is methyl and one is ethyl, but there can be a possibility that the two, whatever the substituents that is attached with the parent chain can be same. So you can see that in the parent chain, this is the parent chain, as you can see in the parent chain, in the number 2 position methyl substituents is there. On the other hand, in the number 3 position again methyl substituents is there. In that case you have to use the prefix di. Okay, first of all you have to give the position of these 2 substituents, that is 2 and 3, 2, 3, then you have to use the prefix di. So 2, 3 di, then whatever the name of the substituents, that is common substituents, 2, 3 dimethyl, then as there are total 4 number of carbon atoms in the parent chain, so that will be 2, 3 dimethyl butane. Okay, so similarly in that compound, as you can see, this is the parent chain, and in the number 2, number 3 and number 4 position same methyl groups are there. So in that case you will use the prefix tri, because the 3 same substituents are there. So at first you will name the position of this substituent, that is 2, 3, 4, then tri methyl, methyl is the common substituents, 2, 3, 4 trimethyl pentane. Okay, now here I am giving you one homework. You can do it in your own. So what is the nomenclature of this compound? If you have any doubt or problem, you can ask me through the comment section. I will definitely reply your comments. Okay, so rule number 7 says that again, rule number 7 I will discuss about how you can choose the parent chain. So the first rule says that the parent chain should have the maximum number of carbon atoms. So that is the utmost criteria. But you can came across some example where you will see that there can be a 2 possibility of parent chain, and both the parent chain are having same number of carbon atoms. So in that case what you will do? So this is one example. As you can see that if you consider this as your parent chain, you can see the blue one. If you consider this as your parent chain, you will see that in the parent chain there are total 7 number of carbon atom. But on the other hand, you can also consider this as your parent chain, this portion. In that case also there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 number of carbon atoms are there. So what will be, in that case, what will be the parent chain of this organic compounds during the nomenclature, okay, using IUPAC technique? So in that case, IUPAC nomenclature method says that in that case, when you have the two parent chains having the same number of carbon atom, then the parent chain, you have to choose one, that parent chain which is attached with maximum number of substituents. Okay, so you can see that this parent chain has only one and two substituents. Okay, so you can see, if you consider this as your parent chain, you will have this methyl substituents and you will have this substituents. On the other hand, if you choose this as your parent chain, okay, in this as your parent chain, in that case you will have total 3 substituents. That is, this is one methyl group, this is one methyl group, sorry, 4 substituents. This is one methyl group, there is one methyl group, 3 methyl groups are there, and this propyl group is there. So that's why, as this parent chain are having total 4 number of substituents, so that's why you should choose this as parent chain, because the rule number 7 says that the parent chain should also contain maximum number of substituents. Okay, so in that case, what will be the nomenclature? So first of all, you can see that whatever the substituents at position 2, 3 and 5 of the parent chain, there are 3 methyl groups are there. So that's why you will write 2, 3, 5 trimethyl, and then at position 4, this is the propyl as the substituent. So 2, 3, 5 trimethyl 4 propyl heptane. So this is the nomenclature of this compound. Okay. So the rule number 8 says that when branching first occur at an equal distance from either side end of the longest chain, choose the name that gives the lower number at the first point of difference. So what this rule says, so you can see that this is one example of organic compounds. So you can do the numbering from left to right like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so you can see that at number 2, the first substituents will come, or the first substituents come at number 2 position. On the other hand, if you do the numbering from left to right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in that case also at number 2 position, the first methyl substituents came. So in that case, both in the both direction of nomenclature, the location of the first substituents is common. So in that case, we have to see the location of the second substituents. So in this type, from left to right, if you go, the location of the second substituents is number 3. Okay, so this number 3. On the other hand, if you do the numbering from left to right, the location of the second substituents is number 4. So as number 3 is lower than number 4, so that's why the numbering from right to left direction will be the right direction. Okay, so you can see that the first point of difference is this one. So when the first substituents location is same in both way of numbering the parent chain, in that case you have to consider the first point of difference. So the first point of difference is this substituent, the second substituents. Okay, so the name of that compound will be 2,3,5 trimethyl hexane. Similarly, the nomenclature of this compound is 3,4-dimethyl heptane. You will just have a look and try to understand why the nomenclature is this. If you have any problem, you can ask me through the comment section anytime. Now I will discuss about the nomenclature of branched chain alkane. So if you remember that branched chain alkane come due to these types of structure. You can see that this is a 3 carbon group. So this is a structure of propane. So in case of branched chain alkane, what happened that in case of unbranched chain alkane, you will remove this terminal. So this will be CH3. I am sorry, there is some mistake. This will be CH3. Okay. So if you, in case of unbranched alkyl group, you just remove one hydrogen from the one terminal hydrogen in case of unbranched alkyl group. But in case of branched alkyl group, one of the middle hydrogen atom that is attached with the carbon atom is being removed. So if you remove this carbon atom, you will obtain isopropyl group. On the other hand, if you remove this hydrogen atom or this hydrogen atom attached with the carbon atom, you will have the propyl group. Okay, so this is called 3 carbon groups branch chain alkane. Okay, so you can see that although this isopropyl is although not an IUPAC nomenclature, but still it is used for the nomenclature because it saves lots of time. So you can see that it will hardly takes any time to write IPR, that is isopropyl. But if you see the systematic nomenclature of this isopropyl group, the systematic nomenclature will be 1-methyl ethyl group. Okay, so this is the system. This is a pure IUPAC nomenclature of this 3 carbon alkyl group, and that is also known as isopropyl group. Okay, now come to the 4 carbon group. So in case of 4 carbon group, you can subtract hydrogen atom from this hydrogen atom, or in that case you will obtain the butyl group. If you subtract this hydrogen atom, okay, sorry, this hydrogen atom, you will obtain the isobutyl group. If you subtract this hydrogen atom, you will obtain the sec-butyl group. On the other hand, there can be a possibility that this carbon atom may be attached with total 3-methyl group. So in that case, it is called the tert-butyl group. So this is also a 4 carbon group. So you can see that this butyl or isobutyl, sec-butyl, tert-butyl, these are not IUPAC nomenclature, but they actually saves lots of our time. So that's why we still use this terminology while we do the nomenclature of organic compounds. So the proper nomenclature or proper IUPAC nomenclature of these types of groups is this. Like you can see, this is the tert-butyl group. We can also say this as 1,1-dimethyl ethyl group, similar as you can see. Okay, now here is some example how you can use this terminology to do the nomenclature of these types of compound. So you can see that this is the parent chain of one organic compounds. So at the number 4 position, this is the substituents. So you can see that by seeing the substituents, we can see that this is nothing but this isopropyl group. Okay, so you can say that either you can say 4-isopropyl heptane, or you can say that 4,1-methyl ethyl heptane. So any one of the nomenclature you can use. Both are approved by IUPAC system. Okay, similarly you can see that at this is the parent chain. At number 4 position, tert-butyl group is attached. So you can name it as 4-tert-butyl octane. Okay, so this is one 5 carbon alkyl group. This is called the neopentyl group, or this is also a common name, and according to the IUPAC system, it is also known as 2,2-dimethyl propyl group. Okay, so why it is called propyl? As you can see that this is the main parent chain. You can see that this is the main parent chain of this alkyl group, which consists total 3 number of carbon atom, and at the number 2 position, 2 methyl groups are being attached. So that's why you will write 2,2-dimethyl propyl group, or you can also nomenclature it as neopentyl group. This is a common name. Okay, now this is for your I'm not going to discuss these things. I know that you have already knew about what is called 1 degree, 2 degree and 3 degree or 3 degree hydrogen atom. So when you can see that the carbon atom, hydrogen atom attached with 1 degree carbon atom is called the 1 degree hydrogen atom. The hydrogen atom similarly attached with 2 degree carbon atom is called the 2 degree hydrogen atom, and the hydrogen atom that is attached with 3 degree carbon atom is called the 3 degree hydrogen. So what is 1 degree carbon? 1 degree carbon is only attached with only 1 carbon atom. Similarly, 2 degree carbon atom will be only attached with 2 carbon atoms. Similarly, 3 degree carbon will be attached with total 3 number of carbon atoms. Okay, so you can see that this is 4 degree carbon atom, because this carbon atom, central carbon atom, is attached with total 4 number of carbon atoms. Okay, and in that case you can see that whatever the total 12 hydrogen atoms are present, they are all 1 degree hydrogen atom, because these hydrogen atoms are attached with those carbon atom which are at 1 degree. Okay, Now I will discuss about the nomenclature of alkyl halide. So you can see that the alkyl halide consists of two portions. One is the alkyl portion and another is halide portion. Okay. So you can see that the common naming style is haloalkane. Halo means if you have chlorine atom attached with it, you will write chloro. If you have fluorine atom attached, you will write fluoro. If you have bromine atom attached, you will write bromo. Or if you have iodine atom attached, you will write iodo. So that's why this common name halo. And then alkane. So if you have 2 number of carbon atom, you will write methane. 3 number of carbon atoms, you will write propane, etc. So this is one example of one haloalkane. So first of all, you can see that the halogen that is attached is chlorine. So you will write chloro, and it has total 2 number of carbon atoms. So chloroethane. Now you can see in this case the halogen atom that is attached is fluorine. So the first one is fluoro, and as there are total 3 number of carbon atoms are present, so that's why you will write propane. So fluoropropane. Okay. Similarly, in this case, as you can see that here the halogen atom that is attached is bromine, but here one thing you need to consider is that this bromine atom is not attached with the terminal hydrogen atom. Instead, this bromine atom is attached with this middle carbon atom. This bromine atom is not attached with terminal carbon atom, but instead it attached with this carbon atom. Okay, and the position of this carbon atom is number 2, because this is your main chain. So, and the position of this carbon atom is number 2. So that's why you have to also designate the position of this halogen atom. So 2 bromo, then as it has 3 carbon atoms, so 2 bromopropane. Okay, now there is one situation that in this case as you can see, this is the parent chain, and you can see that in the parent chain contain both methyl as a substituents and chlorine as substituents. So both halogen as well as alkyl groups are present as a substituents. So in that case, while doing the nomenclature, which substituents you will pronounce first? So according to the IUPAC rule, you can according to the IUPAC guideline or IUPAC rule, and the first substituents that is pronounced first will be according to the alphabet. Okay, so you can see that this is the chloride or chloro substituents. So, and this is methyl substituents. So as C is alphabetically before M, so that's why this chloro will come first. Okay, so the numbering will be like that. So first of all, you have to do the numbering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so 2 chloro, then 3 methyl, and as it contains total 5 number of carbon atoms, so pentane. Okay, similarly in that case 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 chloro, 4 methyl, pentane. Now here I will going to discuss about some of the common name that is used for some of the haloalkanes that is still widely used. These are not IUPAC nomenclature, but they are widely used. Now this is the ethyl group. So when the halo group or halogen atom is attached with this ethyl group, it is called ethyl chloride. Okay, remember that the IUPAC nomenclature of this compound is chloroethane. Okay, the IUPAC nomenclature is chloroethane, but we can also use this common name as ethyl chloride. Okay, you can see that this group is isopropyl group. As you can see, this group is isopropyl group, so that's why it is called isopropyl bromide. Similarly, this alkyl group is called the tert butyl group, so that's why it is also known as tert butyl bromide. This alkyl group is also known as sec butyl group, so that's why this compound's name is sec butyl chloride. Similarly, this alkyl group is known as neopentyl group, so that's why this alkyl bromide is also commonly known as neopentyl bromide. Okay. Now I will come to the naming of alcohol. So what is alcohol? Alcohol compound basically consists of the common or the general formula of alcohol is ROH. So it should have one hydroxyl group that is attached with the alkyl group, which is, and this is called the alcohol. Okay, so the nomenclature of alcohol consists of these 1 2 3 4 parts. So the first part is called the locant, or the location of the substituents or the prefix. So the first part is the location of the substituents, that is called the locant. The second part is the substituents itself. Okay, and then again the part is the locant of the hydroxyl group. You have to also mention what is the location of this hydroxyl group. So the third part is again the locant, and the fourth part is the parent compound. So let's see with this example. Okay, so you can see that this is the numbering of the parent chain. Why the numbering is parent chain is like that, we will discuss in the next slide. So for before that, let's assume that this is the correct way of nomenclature of this parent chain. So this is your parent chain. Now the first, there is only one substituent, that is methyl substituents, and the location of this methyl substituents is 4. So this is the first locant. So 4. Then there come the prefix, that is methyl group, so 4 methyl, and then there is another third portion is locant, that is location of this hydroxyl group, that is 1, so 4 methyl 1, then hexane. So this is the name of the parent compound, hexane. Then this group is known as all, hexane plus all, and in that case you have to just subtract this E part. Okay, so it will be hexanol. Okay, so this is the correct way of doing IUPAC nomenclature of alcohols. Okay, so you can see that the first of all there is some rules for the nomenclature of alcohols. So the first rule is that select the longest continuous carbon chain to which hydroxyl is directly attached. So here the first and utmost criteria is that the longest chain should directly attach with the hydroxyl group. So that's why you can see that this is the parent chain. Similarly, this is the parent chain. So for in that parent chain, the hydroxyl group should be directly attached. Okay, so after that, whatever the name of that parent chain, you have to drop the word E, that I have told you, that you have to drop the word E and then you have to add the suffix all. Okay, so here as you can see that the name of this parent chain is propane. Okay, and the position of this hydroxyl group is 1, so 1 propane, and you have to drop the name PR, as the name of the parent chain is PROPNE, so you have to drop that E part and add all, so 1 propanol. Okay, so this is the correct way of nomenclature of this alcohol. Similarly, you can see that this is the this is another compound where the position of the substituent or the position of this hydroxyl group is number 2, so that's why 2. Then as this parent chain contain total 4 number of carbon atoms, so 2 butanol. Okay, now you can see that this is the example that I have already discussed in my previous slide, this one. Okay, so you can see that this is the position of the substituents, that is 4 methyl, and then this is the location of the hydroxyl group, 1 pentane 1 all. Okay, or you can say that 4 methyl 1 pentanol. Okay, similarly, in case like alkyl halide, there are some common functional class name of alcohol. Like if you see that this propyl group contain this hydroxyl group, it is called propyl alcohol. This is the butyl alcohol. This is the name of the sec butyl alcohol. This is the tert butyl group that is attached with this hydroxyl, so it is called tert butyl alcohol. This isobutyl group is attached with this hydroxyl, so it is called isobutyl alcohol. Similarly, this neopentyl group attached with this hydroxyl, so that's why it is called neopentyl alcohol. Now the third rule says that when there can be a situation that there is 2 hydroxyl group attached with the same parent chain, so in that case you have to use the terminology diol. Okay, you have to use the terminology diol after the parent name. Okay, so you can see that the location of this 2 hydroxyl group is 1 and 2, so 1 2, then the parent name ethane diol. Similarly, you can see this is the location of the 2 hydroxyl group, that is 1 and 2, so 1 2 propane diol. Okay, similarly in that case you can see that the location of the two hydroxyl group is 1 and 3, so 1,3 propane diol. Similarly, these compounds are also commonly known as glycol. So you can write like ethylene glycol, or you can write it as propylene glycol, like that. These are general name that is also used in the terminology, which is also accepted by IUPAC. So that's it from this part of this nomenclature portion, and in the second lecture I will discuss about the nomenclature of different types of cycloalkanes. So I have told you that in case of cycloalkane you will have these types of cyclic structure like this, or you can have these types of fused cycle like this. So what will be the nomenclature of these types of cycloalkanes, that I am going to discuss in the next or the part 2 of this nomenclature portion. So if you do like this lecture, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel Chembiosis, and thank you very much for your attention, and I will see you in the part 2 of this lecture series. Thank you.